Is The Substance a return to great body horror films? Hey everyone, welcome to Cinema, where we focus on a film. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of The Substance, if you've seen it. Is it good, is it bad, or somewhere right in the middle? Or if you're waiting for this review to decide if you're going to see it or not, make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe if you haven't already to join in the film culture community where we talk about the love of cinema as a whole. And getting right into Synopsis, a fading celebrity decides to use a black market drug, a self-replicating substance that creates a better, younger version of herself. And getting right into the positive, I'd first like to say there's so much to love about this film that I personally connect to, just in the grotesque nature of what you're getting into body horror. And I'm not too familiar with several body horror films, what ones are good, what ones are not so good, but the way this one is pulled off, the technology or the makeup that is available today makes this film so well done. And I'm a huge fan of sci-fi, and I'm definitely getting a lot more into horror films recently now, and just the way that's all pulled off, the way they tie in the sci-fi and body horror together just makes it a great time overall. And what we get out of the performances, Margaret Qualley, Demi Moore, those are the two actresses playing the split personality. Demi Moore being the older, fading actress, and then Margaret Qualley, what we get out of her persona has her own electric energy that they really bring out to make it interesting, just in the way it touches on the themes of fading celebrities and popularity that it doesn't always last. It can for some people, but in this circumstance, it's not always talking about the way people can achieve their success, but how it can be taken away from them even when they're still alive, even when they used to be shining high on their things. And you see the negative talk for people in the background, just her experiencing some words that are hurtful because she's getting older, she's not as popular or fit for the business that she signed up for, and so they're looking for a replacement. So that ultimately brings about this story, bringing about The Substance, a black market drug that creates a different, better version of herself. And there's multiple different rules that are introduced that it just makes you question how it will flow throughout. And with that said, the story flows in a nice manner. It doesn't really feel too long or too short, and still manages to tackle all its themes while not really feeling like it's preaching anything or explaining too much by words, more than showing us what's going on and showing us the lessons of everything that's going on with the beauty of how you look as you age and not settling for just allowing yourself to age. And so the way that all is tackled becomes interesting just by the pure nature of the flow of the story. What we get once the substance is introduced, the little caveats and intruances to how that goes about, and introduces the conflicts of the story. And it becomes unpredictable in that sense, because with those caveats and ideas of the black market drug, there's going to be something fishy, some conflicts that come about along the way, but you don't quite know, and you aren't quite expecting what all comes about from this point to the next point to the next point. And the appearances change often because of those consequences, and makes you wonder from the very beginning how each one of the bodies will interfere with the other. And I'd like to also mention we get sort of this villainous character in Dennis Quaid, and I'm a fan of Dennis Quaid as an actor, but this makes his role stand out that much more. His performance is, in the past several films we've seen from him, he pretty much plays all the same inspirational characters, but not given too much to really speak to his performance or what he can do with his acting. And this is a film that really makes him fun, makes him seem like he's really enjoying his time with the performance, and you almost hate his character because he almost comes off as the villain, but not necessarily the central villain outside of just the words he speaks, the hurtful comments he can make at certain times, and the grotesque nature you make out of his character, while not necessarily having a direct involvement with the story itself, knowing about the substance, what's going on with the characters, the fading actress, and everything that's going about throughout. Just adding some interesting vibes throughout, and there's certain moments of the story that really amplify not only his character, but the other characters by amplifying the sound of chewing or some other things that really adds to the effect of grossness to certain moments, or adding elevations to the music and sounds that really just builds the momentum of the story that much higher, getting me that much more intrigued. And there, within the theater, it was a great experience because not only did I get to express my emotions in ways that, like, you audibly gasp or react to what's going on, and it almost becomes a comedy in some sense of imagination just because of the satirical ideas or the way some things are pulled off. You know certain things are going to come out a certain way by the end once you get the general flow of the story, the way things build up with the substance, and how that affects the ideas, the audience, and the characters as a whole. And so you get that audience gasps or certain things that go about along the way that we react and discuss, or just being able to enjoy something that makes this film feel very original. And while it may have similar narrative beats to films of its own nature, it still feels very original to its own taste, to what it sets up, how it utilizes its themes to also amplify the substance aspect itself and what it's going on with fading stars and the aspect and themes of beauty and who we are as humans by our innate nature. And it's not really providing an answer to saying you should accept yourself for how you are, but in the same way, it's implying all those things, and I'm still receiving all the messages because of what they bring about, of all of these ideas. This girl and fading actress that's just trying to make herself that much more beautiful, and it's hard to give up her new self in order to obtain what her life was once by in the past. And so getting right into the mix elements, there's a lot of nudity within this film for women and everything throughout that can obviously throw some people off if you're not wanting a pornography film. This isn't necessarily that in the pornographic way. There's no sex scenes or anything that flows along the lines of that, but there's multiple nudity scenes that just expresses the woman's body because of what they have to bring out of the body horror aspect of the film, what they utilize with the substance. They have to undress in order to wear it and be able to take out those scenes to a fullest extent. And so that's something to look out for if you're not into it. And it is a very grotesque film. Just the way they go about the nature, it's bloody. There's a body coming out of the main host body. And so it's not going to be for everyone by any means. Even if you're into horrors, it still could throw you off depending what sort of aspects you're expecting out of this for the pure nature of what it's going to into. And also, I'd like to mention that there's not necessarily answers to how the substance works. If you're wanting a clear resolution to how it logically works sense for a body to come birthing out of another body from the back just by utilizing the substance and how that works, it doesn't necessarily have those answers. And so you sort of accept it for how it is because of the general vibes and the extent of what they're wanting to do with this body horror film. And so that's just my personal thoughts on The Substance, which I have to rate a simply 9 out of 10, a big surprise in my personal book. So that's just all. Make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe if you haven't already to join in the film culture community where we talk about the love of cinema as a whole. Make sure to comment down below your thoughts, how you would rate it as a whole. Did it work or did it not work? And that's just all, and make sure to do yourself a favor and go watch a movie.